All right, hey folks, how are you all doing today? Let me go ahead and check my signal here to make sure we are up and running, and we'll get to work today. So let's see, my channel, checking in to see if Eberron is live, and it looks like we are here. Checking. Good. All right, cool. So let me, I'm going to go through my intro here real quick, and I'm going to upload some links to the social medias while I do so. Just to keep things flowing. Hold on here real quick. There it goes like that. And then blip. Blip. Blop. There. Okay, cool. Clear my throat real quick for the intro. Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And, you know, I've been running games in Dungeons & Dragons since 1987. I've been using Eberron as my homebrew campaign of choice since 2006. And I've been creating content on DMsGuild since 2017, but I've never published an actual adventure. So that's what we are in the process of doing right now, is creating Crystals of Mabar. It is an adventure for 45 characters, a level 7 to 8, running around the Carnwood, fighting undead and necromancers. Good times for all. And so let's see. I'm on the X Twitter platform at Phil Kearney. You can follow me there. Like, subscribe to get and hit the bell icon to get notifications of when I'm live in the future. Thanks a lot. More subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming in. And I certainly hope to earn your my keep on your panel. So this is episode 293. Here's the full list of content that we have here. This book cover that we created, which you'll see on the DMsGuild dashboard once that thing publishes. We made this back around episode 40, so you can jump into the Wayback Machine and check that out if you want to. But we are here for the past 10 episodes. We've been basically creating forest tokens, a bunch of trees that become, we can now replicate forest environments using these basic tokens, but we're going to also add in ground stuff. Today, right now, we are working on campsite tokens. So I'm going to erase this. We got a timer going. We're just going to make some simple icons that represent that represent a campsite. And once we have that complete, we'll be making some shrubbery, rocks, and some other obstacles and difficult terrain tokens that we can litter in a forest environment to help add a little bit more meat to the area. But for now, we're looking at a campfire. So we'll take our pixel count down to 3 here to make some rocks to put around the fire. I'm gonna do like that. Rocks, of course, important to prevent the fire from spreading along the ground, because rock doesn't burn so good. It's a natural deterrent to fires in a forest. The Eberron Asteroid Belt Spelljammer campaign that I've been running for my home table. We have a game again today, and we've been running it episodically. So basically, things run in 10-day cycles. Picking that up from the Faerun campaign, where they have days, months, and in between they have 10 days instead of weeks, like TENDAYS. They're called 10 days, or a 10-day. 2 10 days is 20 days. 2 10 days is a fortnight. Anyway, so the way that the campaign is formatted is is one adventure every 10 days, and we've only had 3 full adventures, so quote-unquote adventures so far. But each one of them has been able to take place in a single day. So the 10-day rule for episodic adventuring so far is sustaining itself really well. I can't recall the last time I ran an adventure that wouldn't be that you wouldn't be able to have contained within a 10-day period of time. So I think 10 days is a really, really good just benchmark measurement of time to elapse in your campaign if you use downtime activities or like Dominion type campaigns where your team runs and operates an organization or like a kingdom or whatever. And there's 4X style things to do like distribute resources, taxation, stuff like that. It's the 10-day system is a really good way to reallocate resources that had previously been invested in different endeavors. And so that's what the team has. They have command of an asteroid belt mining guild of gnomes, dwarves, and warforged. And they are mining the tiers of Sybaris, basically, of asteroids and crystals that are floating in orbit as resources for them to then, trade in for money to upgrade their equipment and hire new crews and invest more in researching magic items and stuff. So as they adventure this asteroid belt, they run across monsters. They have to delve into asteroids to find hazards and clear them out for the mining crew. So it's a fun little campaign so far. And they have 6. So the way that works is that the orbit around Eberron is broken up into 10,000 mile territories that start basically in low orbit around Eberron, where we need to. The scenario here is that Eberron, asteroids will eventually fall from orbit and then basically have an asteroid crash on the planet, which could kill people. So the idea here is that they create these mining organizations to go up into atmosphere to destroy the rocks before they hit atmosphere and fall to the planet. While you're up there and you're breaking up rocks, if there happens to be any valuable resources up there, consider it salvage or loot for you to claim all of that ore from the asteroid rocks. So the mining teams are incentivized to go up and break up the rocks because they keep whatever loot they can find. And the way that it works is that each asteroid is a potential point of access to Kyber. So there could be all sorts of monsters, aberrations, horrors, whatever, floating around inside of these rocks, waiting for landfall so that they can unleash themselves upon the world of Eberron. And again, your team is basically defending people from that happening. So the way that adventures are generated is they currently have 6 of these 10,000 mile territories that orbit the planet. There's a ring of like 12, 10,000, and then like 18 from the 10,000 to 20,000 mile range. I think there's 18 plots of land in rotation there. So as they gain more resources from successfully mining different rocks, they also, yeah, it's a good ring of rock. They also get the wealth that they accumulate. They can then convert into gold that they can then purchase the deeds to mining additional territories. And there's already a number of different mining operations of different nations that are mining asteroids in orbit with them. So the territories that they get are basically like is like an international agreement that spot is up for grabs. And so as the team expends their very XCOM style, they spend their resources to gather to get rights to more asteroid areas, or more territories, more plots of land for them to mine asteroids in. As they come into orbit and rotate around the planet, the territory stays still. So as asteroids pass through the territory, while it's in that territory, the team has rights to mine as much resources from it as they can until it moves out of their territory into the next person's territory. So an asteroid can float into orbit for the team to mine. It only has like 16% of it left. So they got to take what they can get from the resource, and there you go. And eventually, when the asteroid goes down to 0, it's been destroyed, and it's no longer a threat to the planet. So you want to burn these rocks down to 0%, but when you do, you no longer get any resources from them. So there might be an asteroid drifting through orbit. It might be these asteroids might be occupying 3 of your territories over the next 30 days. And if you exhaust them in the first day, you get all the resources that you can out of them, but now your next 2 cycles, they're empty. So you just have dead space. Where there's nothing profitable moving through for the miners that are in the location in the plots of land that you have, because you have a mining crew in each plot of land, or each territory. And if that territory has already burned out all of its resources, then the miners in that territory are not going to be producing anything for you right now. So there's fluctuating profits, like profitability that the team gets as a result of how effective they are or efficient they are at clearing asteroids out. At many points, they don't, like these miners have just basically idle hands. If you clear out a zone, there's a risk that they're going to get bored and you're going to lose that crew. So there's a lot of fun little morale sub games that the team gets to play. But then they also get, like, if there's monsters found in an asteroid, the miners won't mine that asteroid until the monsters are cleared out, which I think is totally logical. But that's one of the threats that they have to deal with. Their goal is to gather resources and increase the quality and capabilities of the guild that they oversee. And if they aren't gathering resources from asteroids, they can't get more points. They also have to spend points every time they go on an adventure to equip the character. This is a very Essence 20 style. Renegade games like G.I. Joe, Transformers approach of adventure design, where you are going into a mission, and you get specific resources, like in G.I. Joe, it'd be like the weapons and the vehicles, and the extra kits that you would get for your characters to perform tasks during the adventure. Power Rangers is kind of the same. Renegade Games is very gear focused, where if you're going to go on a mission, you basically get equipped with different types of gear. That the gear is what affects your proficiency bonuses, not so much like what your character knows, but more so like what your character has available to them to make better. We call them ability checks, but it's more like equipment checks with Renegade Games. So, but I like that. Every mission you have access to a pool of resources that you can basically get different advantages on different types of, like you want a survival kit if you want to make survival checks, right? You'll need a medical kit if you want to make medicine checks. Pretty logical stuff like that, but Renegade Games did a pretty good job at being able to build that stuff out. So in that same sort of idea, that mentality, whenever the team goes on a mission, they can spend resources like to get magic gear that they've already gathered. Like when they find magic loot, they then send it back to quote unquote the lab to be researched. And every 10 days, the lab can research one idea per 10 day. And so as they gather more resources, they can only generate one new thing per adventure. And if they spend resources on it, like if they spend 1 point of resources, the team gets 1 item to share. And it'll typically have like a limited, like it'll be an expendable use item. Like a healing kit. There's 1 healing kit per team. And they can all use it until somebody fails an ability check. like the more points you try to heal, or the higher level condition you try to remove with a healing kit, the higher the difficulty roll is, and you can control how much, how hard you push the kit. Like if I need to heal 3 hit points, I only need to roll a 10 or above on a healing check, and I might have like a +8 to do so. So it's pretty easy to achieve that roll. But like if I wanted to heal 8 hit points, that would be an ability check of say 25, and with only a +8, there's a 1 in 25. That'd be like I have to roll a 17 or above with only a +8. So like healing 8 points in one go, that's super risky. The characters only have, like at first level they have 5 hit points, and 10, 15, 20, 25. You can get up to 30 hit points. And so healing, like losing 5 hit points and like regaining 3 hit points is for like a low level character, that's huge. So you're only occasionally making die rolls that are necessary. But like each person could have a healing kit if they wanted to have that much available to them, but it will cost them 1 resource point per person. And even then, if they personally screw up their own die roll, they are now out of their own healing kit. So in many instances, it's more efficient for the team just to have 1 item that they're sharing, and that's how. And using that item has no limit as long as they can continue to hit the die rolls. Other things have single uses, and it'll cost them a resource like a disintegration hand grenade. You're going to have to spend 1 point per hand grenade, and however many people want them, that's fine. But if the team only gets like say 2 to 6 points of resources for each asteroid, and they only have 6 territories, and they can occasionally fail to extract resources from them, or they've already exhausted resources in one of them, they could get anywhere from like say right now at the level that they're at, they can get basically anywhere from 8 to 12 points is typical. 6 to 12 points per 10 day. And it costs like a healing packet and a grenade. Those cost 1 each, right? So if they only get say 6 points, and they want to give the team on the next adventure, they want to give the team like 4 magic items, then that means there's only 2 resources left over for them to improve their guild. So they're doing a really fun balancing act between the 4X civilization sort of system of developing their guild. And it also doubles down as equipping their team with different stuff. So it's a fun little mini game that they've been playing, and so I get to play that some more today. Last week when they finished their mission, we did the looting of gathering resources, and this session we're going to look at what new threats they have to deal with for the next 10-day cycle. And hey, that's a campfire. Not very significant in the large scale of things, but it is what it is. Campfire. Now let's make a tent. Let's make a tent camping token. We're going to want to have a tent. A tent is a tent, of course. So let's go to 3 pixels. You know, I should do this like this. Trying to find a halfway mark. What I should do is a separate layer so I can just find the center. That feels pretty good. All right. clean up those tips. Yeah, looks right. Now we're going to move the whole structure up here to the center. Here. Here and here. That feels good. Let's try that again. Let's go from there to there, there, to there, there, to there, and there, to there. Something like that. That's starting to feel good. It's those things real quick. Dot 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 dot. Put that in. Put that in. Put that in. There. Little rivets to keep the thing belted to the ground, and then you got your secure lines here to keep the tent up. That is a tent. So a tent occupies a 10-foot space for one person. You could snuggle two in if you really wanted to. See, nice. Fits inside of a 10-foot space. A-okay. Well, not quite, I guess. Let's get rid of that one. Tent. Let's fix this so that it does. There, that's good. Duplicate. Transform. Don't. to put that campfire got shifted. There you go, buddy. Tent. There. Tent and tent and tent and tent. Let's go with a duplicate layer here. Yeah, I like that, like that. 5 foot space, 5 foot space, 5 foot space, and then that's fine. There, you can add more tents as needed. Center line there, keep these things centered up. Cool, okay, great. So that's camping tokens. So that's campsite. I don't think we need to make it too complicated, right? We could add like baubles and bibs and stuff, but I think that's probably good. All right, so now that we have the campsite taken care of, we can lift some of these tokens. There's also going to be a when we go over to the other maps and add these tokens in to the flooded fort and the gatehouse maps. They also have little camps set up, so we'll be able to use these same tokens and add to some at the other locations. Let's see, how we doing? Oh, we're doing really good. Yeah, we still got a half hour left. So let's start messing around with brambles and obstacles. I think we can do that in this. Let's see. I'm going to take the campfire. I'm going to push it to the top above the grid. And here we're going to go with terrain obstacles. Three, good. Just make some rocks. Doesn't have to be anything too profound. So we want 1 rock, 2 rock, 3 rock. And we want to drop the pixels down to 2 again to fill in the space. Here we go. something cut out like that makes a lot of sense. And here, so we can just use when we color these, we can just use two tones, a light and a dark. Just sort of set off against how these things shade in. There, 1, 2, 3 rocks. Good enough. And so we can go. Rock 1. Rock 2. Rock 3. Rocks. And then the next up, let's see, I think when I'm looking at the rocks, I think I want to have definitely a burden. There we are, a tilt. See. Next thing we want to do is we want to create some thatch, what's the word I'm looking for? Thicket. So let's use the internet to help us find the answers that we need. Let's go to thicket. See what the internet thinks a thicket looks like. Yeah, that seems pretty freaking legit to me. The myth of the thicketless prairie. Native thicket. Oh, God, look at that. Let's copy that image. Thicket. Okay. I kind of see how you do. So we want full thicket, partial thicket, and then sparse thicket, so that we can build out these little flotillas of plant life, like we did with the Vulpina Lotharia, the razor vine, and the mushroom caps, the emerald cap mushrooms that we created tokens for inside of the manifest zone. We want to create similar thickets here. Thickets can't survive in the Mabar manifest zone because the necrotic effects of the environment will just rot out the plants and they just turn to slush. So, but outside of the manifest zone, it allows us to have a different type of narrative language because this will feel more natural to us. So these thickets, we can disperse these thickets between different trees to indicate growth in a forest, right? So it should be pretty obvious. Hopefully that's obvious. We'll go thicket. So let's see, how do I want to build? I just locked up, so I need to hit save. Close this out and then reopen the program because OBS sometimes doesn't play nice with Photoshop. Cool. All right, so let's see. When we're looking at this thicket here, we're looking at basically interlocking branches. So I think the first thing I want to do, 3 points, is just establish a base for branches. This is kind of like the trees, but just much smaller. So we're using the 3 pixel line here currently. I'm just making this up as I go along, but I'm explaining the process. So I'm using the 3 pixels to indicate obstacles that like 4 pixels is impassable terrain. 3 pixels is terrain that exists that the team can interact with. 2 pixels is basically detail, like non-environmental details, and then 1 pixel is just decoration. But these are there was a question that that somebody had asked on the Eberron art channel, like, hey, I'm making this character, and I'm should I add more details to it? And my response was kind of blown over, but I wanted to address it real quick because I think it's a point of conversation that needs to be addressed, which is when you're thinking about adding details to any kind of composition that you're building, what you want to do is pay attention first off to like what is the pixel density, what is the resolution, and what is the level of detail that you're looking at. Like in this example, we have 100 pixels per inch. So the difference between a 3 pixel line and a 2 pixel line and a 1 pixel line is 1, 2. Yeah, let's do it straight so that it doesn't get all pixely. I'm actually trying to make a point. So here's 4 lines for something you can't cross. Here's 3 lines for a. I shouldn't do this here. Again, sorry. Let's move out of here. So here's 4 for impassable terrain. Here's 3 for environment that exists that the team can traverse, but it doesn't act as an obstacle. Here's 2 pixels for detail, and then here's 1 for decoration. So you can see even with only 100 pixels per square, you can see a sizable difference in the width of lines that we're working with here as we're adding language into this 1-inch square. 300 pixels can obviously, a 300 pixel square is the typical resolution for print. And if that is the level of resolution that you're operating in, you can have a lot of information per inch. So when somebody's asking, hey, I'm thinking about doing details on something, the first thing you want to do is, like, first off, is it going to be aesthetically pleasing to add more details? Like, does it improve the composition by making something more fancified? More trees. This is thicket that we're doing right now. These are going to be obstacles. I finished all the trees that I need inside of. Hey, Ked. I finished off the trees that we need, and I'm pretty happy with them. They have different levels of scraggliness to them, which I think is appropriate for aging and younger trees. Here we have a cluster of them where they're all basically meeting together. But yeah, when I do a forest like this, you have to pay attention to, like, where do the trees sit, because their foliage is naturally going to, like, start intermeshing with each other as they hit this edge here. You can see points of separation here. So I had a lot of fun making these. But most of them I can then extract and just basically put into a token, a kit of tree tokens. This is just the black and white for easy printing on a laser printer, but we're going to colorize all this stuff so that's available on the virtual tabletop as well. And we got some tents done and a campfire, and I didn't think I needed anything else there. But yeah, so now we're creating some random rocks and thicket. So just explaining the difference in pixel density when you're working on details. Yeah, so the point that I made initially was, regardless of whether you think you need any more details, like filigree on a sword, or like crests and symbols on armor, like the first thing you want to do is the resolution of the image high enough that it can support more detail like that, or is it just going to muddy it? Like the original World of Warcraft, the resolution on the characters was so small that there's, like, adding much detail other than just blocks of color to differentiate, red from blue, as it were. You didn't have much more pixel information than you could afford on the sprites, but as you did full character illustrations or book cover work, you have a much higher density of pixels per inch, so you can definitely afford more detail. And you look at Magic the Gathering, the amount of detail that they put into a single card, it's like it gets a little crazy. But those start off as like 3-foot paintings, and then they just bring them down to like card art. Like you can't, like a card art like this, you'd have to have like 1,200 pixels per inch for a painting this size, right? So you have to think about like what is the medium that we're working in, what's the resolution. Before, like, will adding more details improve the composition of the piece? Will it make it look better? There's also the mechanics of the resolution of like, can I actually do it? Can I physically succeed in creating differentiating texture and imagery to add more detail in the first place? And that's something that kind of got ignored on the Eberron site as though that was obvious, but it isn't, because when somebody shares basically very low resolution images of very cartoonish characters, it's like, what is the aesthetic going to actually add to the piece if you add more details? And I think that was probably a pearl that, maybe not to be insulting of swine, but if you don't understand, I just probably didn't do a good job going into an essay like this, which is why I wanted to take a few minutes here to clarify, because people didn't seem to understand what the hell I was trying to say. I guess I could have started off by asking, hey, what resolution is this in the first place to even warrant being able to have more detail? Because I won't bother with the piece itself, but it was a decent looking piece, and it could have supported more detail if the resolution was there. Anyway, that honestly kind of got underneath my skin. But it's probably just a bunch of fans not really understanding the mechanics of actual art illustration. Hopefully the original poster understood what I was actually talking about there and it was useful. I don't know, maybe I'll reach out and say hey. But okay, so using the brambles, that the sample art, the illustration that we grabbed off of Google of what a bramble is, we can see we get the twig patterns going on here, and they just really intermesh with each other to the point where you can't cross through that terrain. And I'm attempting to make this terrain omnidirectional as an overhead, so having them face in each direction. But now I've switched to a 2-pixel brush. Yeah, 2-pixel brush to help thin down the points. And then we'll probably get crazy into a 1-pixel brush to really weave all these things together. Like that. I'm going to drop some of this in here, in between. Oops. Here, here, here. I think I can afford to do this. No, I don't want to do that until I actually flesh out all these bits. So let's go back here. So the 5th level Martial Powers play testing is starting today. And that's going to be like 3-hour game sessions for hopefully the next 6 weeks. I know there's some sickness and stuff going on amongst the players that volunteered. So hopefully we'll have at least 3 people show up so we can actually sling some mana around and beat up some monsters in the wasteland. But I am looking forward to that. I am always a little jittery and nervous about new games as well as play testing, because those are both it's experimentation with a new system, as well as typically playing with new players that you've never played with before. So there's a lot of anxiety that goes on to launching a playtest game, but that's just performance jitters. I always get them. After 30 some odd years, I still get jittery when a game's about to start. But otherwise, I'm here 9 times a week currently. Monday through Friday in the morning, we're building tokens and map assets like this. On Tuesdays and Fridays during lunchtime, I work on the mechanics for martial powers. The past few weeks, I've been working on the playtest environment for the 5th and 6th level adventure, but I've got enough between the Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays that I've invested in it so far. I think I have enough challenge built in at this point that I can kind of cruise control for a while, because it's a 3-hour session and then a 1-week break, and then a 3-hour session and a 1-week break. And there's only so much that the team can do in a 3-hour period of time. All you really need to do is just have more content than they can digest per session. And then you can, once you get ahead of their curve of productivity, as it were, once you get ahead of that, then you're basically on maintenance mode for your campaign. Any decisions that they make is just updating what you already have, and we'll probably go through some of that process here as the playtest campaign proceeds, and they make choices about where they want to go, what they want to do, blah, blah, blah. It'll allow us to take the information that we already have and weave in more details to flesh out future encounters as they lean into what it is that they decide that they want to do. The world will adapt as it does, and make it more and more challenging. The things that they want to do the most will make the most challenging things for them to do, so that they feel like they earned it. That's kind of how role-playing games work. They whether it's the DMs holding their hand through offering options or not, ultimately the process comes down to players make a decision, the DMs create challenges that makes that decision difficult to achieve, and when they do, they gain experience points and they increase their level and they potentially get loot. So trying the things that they want to try has immediate feedback and reward in the system in the form of loot that they can make use of for the rest of the adventure, and then the other benefit that they get is the longer term success. The mid range goal reward they get is gaining a level, and then the long term goal is beyond the loot, beyond the levels, is the actual story of completing the campaign, of achieving something. Now we've created this token here and we've filled the space. What happens if I put these next to each other? Does it still look okay? I'm gonna say yeah. I think that's probably okay. I think I can afford to get rid of that. I'm gonna leave that in place for a few moments, but I want to take under consideration how these things are stacking. I don't want it to be just a central point that radiates outward. Ideally, it would just have an upward towards the camera kind of climb. But we have this central source here. I want to decentralize this. So let me see if I can mess around. How does this do? Let's shave it down so it fits in the space. Let's grab this bit here. If I can disrupt the direction that these things are flowing in, I might be able to create a more, like, quote-unquote universal token that makes sense facing all directions. So let's flip vertical. Here. Kat, I know you're a big cipher system enthusiast. Everyone should know that Kat is a big cipher system enthusiast. But the reason I bring it up is because I would love to have Kat participate in a playtest for the new system that I've been basically playtesting with my team. Because it's very cipher system in orientation. It's like a cipher light system. And Kat, I think you would appreciate it. So once that thing is ready for external playtesting, I am going to hopefully have you involved with it. See if you'll play a couple games and see if it jives with your aesthetic. Let's see. I want to merge all this together. Let's go into here. Free transform. Let's flip that horizontal and then give it a twist. I'm liking this. This is starting to feel really good. Flip horizontal. There, let's merge that down. There, I actually want this to lead off the page, like to the edge here. I think if we have things leave in this way, we can probably get a good rotation going. What's up, Kat? Just read through Player Core 2 for PF2. Gotta say, lots of good design in it so far. Haven't read any 5.5 Player Core. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. They updated PF2, didn't they? Right on. Yeah, I've got maybe I don't know, maybe like 4 more books. I think that are going to definitely be Dungeons and Dragons 5 point whatever, and then from there, I think I'm going to start doing system neutral stuff, and then building out this this new game that I've been testing with my home table. But hey, this looks chaotic enough to fill as a bramble. I bet that's going to work out a-okay. So we're going to delete. Let's duplicate this layer here. Let's free transform. We're going to rotate 50 degrees, and then we're going to pull it over here and see how it sits. And then let's grab another one, duplicate the layer, and then we're going to twist that 180 degrees and drop it in here. Not bad.
I just did like 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. Naturally, there's going to be like a circular sort of effect. That just kind of that's it's a crop circle. Crop circles just naturally occur when you rotate token squares 90 degrees in a circle. Anyway, yeah, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. That's going to be full bramble. Then we're going to do a lighter bramble. I'm going to take this one, and let's free transform, flip horizontal, and now let's free transform and rotate them 90 degrees. See, yeah, nice chaotic pattern. That looks really, really good. So yeah, thanks, Ked. Delete. There's our one, and now we go full thicket. And now we're going to do a lighter, more sparse thicket, using basically the same method of 3 pixels to start, and we're just going to be a little more conscientious about direction, and then 2 pixels. The quote-unquote difficult terrain aspect of the bramble at dense, partial, and sparse, it's still going to be difficult terrain. It's just aesthetic languages. We're just trying to not just have a block here and then nothing here like in some old Bard's Tale tiling system. We want to have a little more nuance and quality and production. So we keep the language the same for the different brambles, but we just reduce the density so it looks natural to have one of these next to, like to have them lining up next to each other. Just like all the other stuff I've done. Don't know what I'm talking about? Check out all the other streams I've done with building building tiles, basically. But we want them at the edge as well as in the middle. I think we want more along one edge than any other. There we go, and this is my last burst. Oh, it's 7:52. Oops. All right, it's just about time for me to go. So we're going to be back on tomorrow morning. This is too thick now. See, it's too thick. I need to lighten that up a little bit. A little more sparse. So I got just a few minutes left and I gotta bounce. Let's get rid of that. A little more sparse here.
there. I can duplicate this layer. Free transform. Rotate 90. Flip vertical. Yeah, not bad. Let's see how replicating that works. See, that doesn't work. That that does work. That doesn't seem so bad, is what I was attempting to say. Let's go. It obviously has a left to the right. It's kind of a corner thingy, so I kind of like that. Yeah, not bad. That's good disperse. I like that. I like that a lot. I like it a lot. So that'll be our partial, full thicket, partial, thicket, and then when we come back tomorrow, let's go part thicket. So when we come back tomorrow, we're gonna build a sparse thicket, and then we'll have all of these. We'll have these thicket tokens that we can then dot across the environment to make little blockades and visual blinds and obstacles that will make a battleground, if one were to occur, more interesting. Okay, yeah, me too, my guy. It's good times. Hey, thanks for being here. I really appreciate you. Right on, man. Yeah, so that's it for now. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to scoot these over. There, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll finish up these thickets, and then we'll probably add in. We'll just find some more little terrain things to do before beginning the coloration process for the map. So anyway, that's it for now, guys. Okay, thanks a lot. Everyone else that's checking out, like, subscribe, bloody blah. I'll see you guys. I'm here 10 times per week, so I'll be back tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow at lunch, and then Wednesday morning, and then Thursday morning, Thursday night, Friday morning, Friday lunch. Saturdays, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm here 9 times per week currently. When I have playtesting active, I'm here 9 times per week. When there's not any playtesting, I'm here 10 times per week. So regardless, I'm working on 3 or 4 different projects at a time. Check it all out. I'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot.